Hi, Aisha. It's so nice to see you.
Lovely to see you this nice and early, Just. Like, great timing.
Imagine two Leos getting up at this time. Not
Absolutely,
early as per the standard time, but yeah, for us.
absolutely, absolutely.
I welcome you to the series of Dare to Bear. And as we've interacted over the last 7 years now, almost 7 years,
Mm.
I've been seeing, like a mirror. So you are telling me stuff, I am telling you stuff, and the way we've gotten along, when I thought about the series, I thought Aisha's got to be a part of this. And we reflect each other's life, shadows, light in a lot of ways. And thanks to your dearest hubby that we connected.
Absolutely. We used him.
Poor guy has no idea.
True.
So I want to know from you that, I know a little bit of your biography. I know where you're coming from. I know the childhood. I know, the first interaction with a man and then coming here. So just tell me, how's this journey been for you in terms of what did you have to face? How open were you to face it? And where was the break of being enough of the world and I will go my way?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I was born in India and we lived here for the first 7.5 years of my life. And I think I was about 6 or something around then that I actually faced abuse, sexual abuse.
Okay.
So, and that too by someone obviously known to the family, most of the times it's like that. And it challenges you because especially in Indian culture, I can only speak from coming from an Indian culture because I was raised that way. My dad's Bengali. It's very much all about, learn to always listen to your elders. They're always going to be right. They're always going to have the right knowledge. You must trust them. You should be quiet and, do what you're told. So I think that shock that happened really got me to think, whoa, this is very different to my conditioning. Okay, so I got a rude awakening, obviously, that hold on, I've been raised to trust my elders, not go against them, to believe, unconditionally, and it happened in my own home. And I thought, well, it sort of like went against everything that we're conditioned to. And the only way it stopped is because we moved overseas. And the sad thing is, we're not even told that these things happen, not because like when I spoke to my parents about it, my mom had no idea, because she hadn't experienced anyone in her life that had gone through this. So awareness wasn't also there. You don't know what to do with it. And so then I shifted to Australia and I was a very timid girl. So my mum is a very girly girl. She loves her, her hair, makeup and all that stuff. And she really, really lives like, like a girl compared to like what I've sort of taken on. And so she really did try and raise me those like similar ways to herself in those first early years. And I was very timid. I was always scared to try things and I was shy. And obviously with the abuse, I suppressed a lot of myself. But once I moved to Australia and I went to school there, so I had the abuse. On top of it, I faced racism, isolation. I was like looked upon as very being different because, the way I spoke English, the way I looked. Back then, it wasn't such a wide range of, multicultural people there those times, like I'm talking 30 plus years ago. So you stand out again, and, I think the first couple of years of schooling and stuff with what I had going on, I took it a lot. I learned to take it, but I was suffering inside. And, you get to a point where you're so much against the wall that you've got nowhere else to go but burst outwards.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was probably about 2 years of sort of taking, feeling guilty, feeling shame, don't want to tell my parents, and I'm, also getting bullied at school. Honestly, it took me about 2 years. So I got the lesson very early on. And it sort of hit me like, it can't be worse than this.
Mm.
So if I stand up and challenge this now, it can't be worse than this. So what I started doing at school was like, I just decided one day that I've had enough. It's almost like you have to hit that rock bottom though. Like I couldn't have stopped at any other point. I had to actually feel horrible. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to lash out now. Anyone looks at me in any way, I'm actually just going to give it back. And the funny thing was, I remember I got into fist fights with boys. I became so dominating in sports. Like I became from this little sweet little girl to very challenging, very determined, and very, very even confronting at times. And I started feeling a lot of power in that. So I started understanding, okay, when I sort of gave myself that boundary, that no, and even though it was hard, guess what? It's so much better on the other side. So I learned that lesson very early on. And although I've refined it because I was more aggressive the way I used to do that, I was more challenging. Now I've learned to sort of do that in a subtle way. So I haven't changed. It's just the approach is a little bit more subtle. Before I was very in your face. So I guess I learned that lesson very early on. Maybe I was about, I would say 10, 11. And it's quite early for a child to understand themselves.
And to be aware of what's happening and how to deal with that, because usually girls or boys at that age would come up and cry or get into a space of I can't figure out, or just get into the shell and never come out of it. And we see that when we handle situations psychologically. But you could do that. So what do you think was the factor? Was it the upbringing? Was it some source inside? Because I know you're connected spiritually as well.
Yeah,
What was that?
I believe there was two things, but the main thing was there was something within me. Like there was something within me that I can't explain, that never made me feel like cowering down to what happened and what was. I just always had this little light in me that was like no. And also reflected, my mum is a very strong character.
Okay.
So I would also have her as a influence, and also she displayed it with my father, right? Or anyone around her, that she could hold her own. So I had this light that said, no, you're more than this, And then I also had my mum, because being a female, you need a really strong female role model.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw the way my mum carried herself, and I had that as a reflection. And then I also had this, like I said, this knowing. It's a knowing. It's not something I can say, oh yes, I worked on it. No, it's a knowing that no, there's more to you. So I think the combination sort of gave me the thing to push back, and I never felt sorry for myself. I didn't understand it. That's one thing. But I actually didn't feel sorry for myself. I didn't have pity. I was angry and I was pissed off, but I'd never actually sat there and said, why me? I didn't have those questions. I just didn't have an understanding. So I was always very, I used to always come from a place of courage, I guess, and I feel that came from being pushed into a corner, feeling pressure.
It was more about reaction to what was happening rather than feeling victimized, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't feel victimized. I had an understanding that it happened to me. I didn't understand why. But then I was like, now I choose that this will not happen to me again. So once I became, you know, like I said, I got aware and I thought, I'm going to push back now. That was a very mentally strong statement I made to myself, which was, never again will I be in this situation in any way, shape, or form.
That's powerful, Aisha, when you say that, because if you go by research, anybody who's been a victim is a victim in the next 3 years as well, and that goes for good 67% of people. And when you say that, this brings a very clear distinction to my mind that when people feel victimized versus when they react to it. So if the focus is their reaction, they know they can do something about it. But
Yeah.
if they are amidst the whirlpool of I am victimized, why me, for me, there
Yeah.
isn't much they can do. Wow. And you know that at 11.
11. Absolutely. And so what happened was, I understood back then it was because I didn't have the knowledge and I didn't know, you know, I trusted. So I didn't blame myself. These are all like empowering thoughts I had even at that age. I didn't blame myself because how could you as a kid? Then I knew that I was confused. I knew that, okay, it's nothing I had done. So I was sort of processing information and I thought, hold on, now I'm aware. Now I get it. Now I'm aware this stuff happens. Okay, so I'm not denying it anymore. So now if you know something happens and it's reality, guess what you can do? You can actually take the right decisions. You can make the right choices because your knowledge of that thing exists now. So when you don't know, you don't know.
Correct.
Right? But when you know, there's a choice. Do I accept reality and now best judge what I do with this, or do I pretend like it never happened and play the victim? So it's like empowering yourself with what happened instead of letting it control you, define you, and you know, and to be honest, it did control me in other ways, but not which I could go into, but not in the way I sort of set boundaries. I was very clear from that age that boundaries are very important now.
And I'm sure no event of molestation or racism happened after that, right?
No, absolutely not. Because I just would like cut it at the moment I even sensed it. I had you against the wall. Like I was like, okay, I'm coming for you now. Like, because I very early on then too started accepting myself for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That also came with it. It's like, okay. And like I said, things also happened in my life that encouraged this sort of behavior. So I had a really strict dad, went to Australia. He would always say, no, you can't go out. No, you can't go out. And, you know, as a normal child, you sort of feel that pressure of, oh, I just want to go and I'm hating not going because you feel left out again. But again, the situation happened and I was like, let me just accept this. What's going to happen? And so at the moment I was like, okay, I can't go somewhere. And my friends were all going. Guess what? They couldn't challenge me because I was like, yes, I can't go. And because I had that confidence in myself, everybody just backed off, you know? So I noticed in life that pattern. The moment you own you, everybody just goes, okay, fine. Yep, got it. We know where to stand.
I think it's the clarity bit that is. So if you're clear about yourself here, then that kind of gets across, whether in language or in non-verbals. People just get that.
Oh, people know, honestly, before language or body language or anything, your energy.
Yeah, the vibes.
And it's like, if you walk in and you are truly happy with who you are and very confident, not just happy, people get that vibe and they know to give you that space. It's like that's how animals communicate, right? You're not going to get a zebra trying to make friends with a lion, not because they talk each other's language, but they actually vibe each other's energy, right? So it's like you keep distance, and that zebra is also right. I'm going to respect this. I'm going to keep my distance. I'm not going to be a fool, you
Yeah.
know. And so that's a very important thing, that you have that energy and presence about yourself, not because you're going to go out into the world and sort of like create, oh, look at me, I am this. No, it's just that I feel like if everybody comes from a place of self-assurance, self-worth, self-love, then, you know, if everybody's living in that zone, nobody can victimize anybody. No one becomes a victim.
Hmm.
You know, you actually become empowering. You stop noticing things. You don't pay attention to people who talk or don't talk. You don't notice what you're missing out on if that person is doing this and you're not. You just become a lot more self, you know. And I feel that's where strength comes from. You know, that's where, like, if you even look at lives now, and you're always going to have something that challenges you. You know, it's not like I learned that at 11 and nothing else tested me. No. So every phase there's something that I've got to go, oh, hold on, this is where. And anytime you are tested, it's a great opportunity to grow and free yourself, right? So I love it because it's like, okay, I'm stuck here. I actually tell myself, oh, I'm stuck here, I didn't know that. So I don't complain about issues that sort of bring me to that uncomfortable awareness. It's almost like life's trying to help you and go, hey, guess what, you're not free here yet, so let me give you a situation that shows you. A lot of people oppress it and they run from it, or they internalize it, take it, and it's sort of like a poison. Whereas I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that I wasn't free there, let me just have a look at this.
This is what
So
you're saying about the life of Pi scene that comes to me in the boat when the protagonist and the tiger are in the same boat. So how he demarcates the area and how they're respectful of the boundaries of each other, and there is a coexistence there. Nobody is being victimized.
Absolutely. And guess what? You need each other to survive too.
Yeah, true.
You
Absolutely.
know, because it was his fear of that tiger that actually kept him aware, right? Maybe he didn't have that thing to be alive and keep that tiger at that space. Maybe he wouldn't have given up on his own life.
Yeah.
Maybe he wouldn't have thought of ways to fish. Maybe he wouldn't have thought ways of, you know, getting water, doing this or that. It's just that survival. It's what actually stimulated him.
This survival, when we talk about women, and this is not about India, outside of India, but generally, you know, the way I interact with them, what you have figured out is that for them, survival has, to some level, till previous generation, was all about taking care of the in-laws, of the husband, of the children. And now, if you look at it, it's a flip around. It's all about my financial independency, and I can survive without you. I don't need you. So when I see this flip of a 360-degree, it makes me wonder if they are actually going only the survival way, keeping the self-love in real, the healthy self-love suppressed as always, because it's either been about your needs all the time, which is the previous generation, they did that. Now it's about my need, but from a space of taking revenge rather than awakening to the power that all of us have with it.
Absolutely right. And if you see, both are extremes, right? So that's where there's no balance, because I do not see, I have noticed, especially in a lot of cultural backgrounds, that the girls are raised to be of service and constantly serve. All right. So and I feel like it goes on to marriages, like you have to prove that you're a good wife, and then you got to prove that you're a good daughter-in-law, then you got to prove that you're a good mother. And it's like, who decided? And who sets that standard? Who does the check, right? And the other sad thing I've noticed is that a lot of the times it's the girls that are actually judging the girls.
Yeah.
You know, they make life hard for the other girl, because see, if something is done to you, it can work two ways. You either going to go, I never want someone else to experience what I went through, or when you have that power, you put someone else in that position, right? So you'll get two types of people. You'll get the ones, like a lot of the times where if they've had like say they've got married, they've come into a family and they've had to always look after their in-laws and stuff, but they haven't done it with happiness, only to keep face, guess what they'll do to their son's wife? They will do exactly that same thing because they've got that power back. Now, the difference is when you look after someone for your own happiness, with your own like will, then guess what? You will never treat another woman badly. It's the ones that were bitter during the time that, you know, they were treated like that will always treat the other, like the son's wives, their daughter-in-laws like that. And you can tell. But the thing is, being a daughter-in-law myself or any other daughter-in-law, you have to take a step back and say, look, it's not personal. That's their issue, you know? And this is where you can prevent yourself being so the other way and go, I'm not going to do this. I am so against this. I'm just going to look after myself and blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, women are nurturers. Women are people that actually are more loving, compassionate. You know, we're the ones that create. You know, we have the ability to sort of, you know, gather and love and sort of have that community. But when one is suppressed and or pushed or like really, really controlled in something, yes, the other side will come out. That is just nature. So I believe that that flip is happening because seriously, how many of, I don't know, from my side, I don't want to constantly have to prove to my husband or my in-laws that I'm worth it. Like, that's ridiculous. If I don't do the dishes at your house, does it mean I love less? If I'm not serving food because I go there, does it mean I love anyone less? Maybe I want a break. Maybe if I'm working at my house, and maybe if I'm going to go to your house, maybe I just want to sit down on the couch.
And maybe because you don't doubt your own worth, so you don't have to prove it to anybody.
Absolutely. And if someone else is judging me because I'm not serving food, that's on them. Because life is not just about showing you that I can serve food. There's many aspects to a human being. We're unlimited. And if you're going to judge me for that, that's on you. That's got absolutely no reflection of me. So if you understand that, you don't become bitter. You're like, okay, that's for you to deal with. You know, because I am very happy being me. I don't want to cook. And honestly, I don't cook. I in the sense that I'll cook to like survive and eat. I'm not a person that wants to compete in cooking and make 5 meals a day because that's not my happiness. So I won't do it.
So to break this, I'm sure the mother-in-laws, the new mother-in-laws especially get this, but they may be stuck in a loop themselves and may not be able to break away from that. So if the mother-in-laws are willing to break away and establish the new norm or not even have a norm, how do you think they can do that?
See, but basically you have to, any change that you desire, you have to become that change first. Right? So say if it was me, I'm a little bit different. I don't expect you to change. I'm happy for you to be who you are because you're honoring yourself too. I'm not telling you to see the world through my eyes. I'm just saying, if I am very respectful of you seeing the world through your eyes, I will do that for myself too. I will not look for your approval. Right? So oil and water exist, but they don't actually mix, but they each have their own place.
Yeah.
Right? I am not saying you are not deserving of this world, this life, whatever. See, at the end of the day, your own life will mirror to you what way you're living, right? And I'm very happy with the reflection I'm getting at the moment. Okay? So for me, very basic. It's like, okay, you happy with your life? So be it. Live it that way. You see, you can lie to anyone. You could lie to your husband, your child, your anyone. But you know when you stand alone, when you are alone, what self-talk is going on. You know how you see yourself. You know what you're talking about. That cannot be lied. You know what vibrations you could smile at me, but internally you're not actually happy for me. You can't hide that.
No,
you can hide it from us, but you can't hide it from you. People get sick, people get diseases, people live miserable. They look like that on their face and body. It shows. Yeah. So for me, I'm not saying you please just everybody be really, aware and, see life through my way. And I'm just saying live your life, but understand what is reflected is actually what you are putting out. See, the universe is not here to judge. It's here to just reflect back anything and everything you are. And It's the best indication. Instead of getting upset and saying, oh my God, my life is this and that, what is the message? Like, what is the universe trying to show you? It's not trying to harm you. It's just trying to, again, raise awareness.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with what is reflected in the mirror, guess who has to change? That person.
Yeah. And it's the direction. So it's just giving you direction. Or I would
Absolutely.
say a sweet nudge, like, wake up. It's
Wake up.
time. Yeah.
Yes, wake up. And you can see it in people, right? You can actually see people that are living a really happy, content life. And it doesn't mean the outside they've got amazing, shiny objects. I'm talking about they're at peace. All you have to do is spend seriously 1 hour with yourself every day. You will work out your authentic self.
Mm.
You just got to listen to your mind chatter. You got to be fine-tuned to what you're feeling, towards other people, towards, situations. You can't hide those things. And that is what creates your reality. As much as you can sit here, listen to Gyan, go to the temples and pray to every god that thinks that you need to, guess what? Your authentic self is what is real. And that is what's getting reflected back in your life.
Absolutely. Aisha, I want to talk about the boxing bit as well. You
Yeah.
are a boxer. How did you get into that? And how is it reflected in your life?
Yeah. So I completely, I'm a big advocate for sports, especially for girls. Like I said, when I was in about primary school and I got bullied and stuff, I picked up sports. So I would watch and I would say, wow, sports people really got a good sense of confidence. They carry themselves different. They walk and talk differently. And so I started playing sports, and I started running fast. I started playing cricket. I was playing every sport you can think of, and I became really good. And before long, I had to only play with boys because I was getting that good. So again, another boost of self-esteem, another boost of look. I have power in this area, and you feel good when you have accomplished those kind of things. So then slowly, I moved from all different sports to martial arts. And I felt a really great sense of power because, it's all about the mental and the physical sort of combining, and you actually become really powerful. And so that really attracted me. I really love that. And I started to do boxing and started to do kickboxing. I've done MMA, I've done samurai sword, I've done full contact karate, I've done everything because I could really express, like I said, I had a lot of pain and hurt or whatever it was still from my childhood, and it would come out in that. It would come out, I would express it that way. And like I said, I didn't take victim mentality. I took more of the other side, which was I'll empower myself. So even though that energy was stuck, and it was, I would channel it out through this expression. And I really got good at it because it made me fearless. It actually has such a great connection to your mind because, strong body, strong mind, strong body, right? And so it sort of played off each other, and I honestly felt invincible. So that's why I really do recommend for girls to always do some sort of physical activity, physical sport. Definitely, like both my girls have done MMA, they've done karate, they've done, martial arts, because it empowers you. You have been given a body, mind, soul. You've got to empower all three. One is just not balanced. You've got to empower all three aspects of who you are, So that's why boxing was such a big part of me.
And how is it bringing up the girls? You had your own bit of challenges while you were bringing them up. Today they are grown up. They are there all by themselves in Australia, doing pretty well, and you're here in India. But how is it to bring them up with the challenges that you faced at that point in time?
The good thing was that I have always been very authentic. So I remember even like going back when I was younger, and maybe about 18, 19, 20, I rebelled, against my parents big time. And I put them through a lot of challenges, but I never ever felt guilty. And it was really weird. And I really did push boundaries. And my mum would say, and I said, Mum, listen, you've got to understand, given my circumstances, having the information I had at that time, the choices I made based on what I was aware of, what I was empowered by. I did the best I could, even if it meant you guys had to go through some pain. I don't regret that because I honestly did my best. You know, when you know better, you do better. When you rise to another level, then of course your actions, behaviors, thinkings, and everything else is going to be from that level. But if you're expecting me to myself be at a certain level and think from here, that's not ever going to happen. So I don't hold on to that. I'm like, no, I actually did my best. That is the way I could have dealt with my pain, my hurt, whatever I wanted to do at that time. Would I do it now? No, because I've grown. So same way, I always had that understanding for myself. And I also taught my kids. So when I was like raising my girls, I was a little bit more aggressive. I was more hard. I was like a drill sergeant. I really wanted strong girls. So I knew what made me strong and I would really apply it on them. And maybe I did it a harsher than I do it now, but I still actually put my kids through pressure situations. I actually do. I don't make it easy for them. I will mentally put them in situations where they feel very discomforted. And until today, because that's what grew me. That's what made me shift. How many people, you know, are so happy to just sit back and let life happen? It's like, no. I said, life just happened, and then you complain that you didn't do this and that. And I said, no, man, life is there to help you, grow you. You can become anything you want as long as you make the effort. You can't sit back and expect that, you know, life's going to come with a silver platter with here you go, here's all your offerings and goodness. No, life is so precious that you should live it, you know, completely. And what made me understand that is when I was faced with challenges. So with my girls too, plenty of mistakes made by me as a parent, plenty. At the same time, guess what? I would always go back to them and talk to them about it and go, yeah, you know what? I actually did this wrong. Oh, shouldn't have done it that way. I know now. So we'd always reflect back. My girls always knew that I never said to them, I'm perfect, I'm right. I'm your mum, you're my kids. I'm learning from you, you learn from me. Let's do this together. When there was no ego involved, we gave each other space to make mistakes. Making space for mistakes is more than you being a perfect parent.
You did
Because,
admit when you were wrong.
sorry?
You did admit when you were wrong.
Absolutely. And at times when I didn't feel it, I would say that as well. I always told my kids to express their truth. It's their truth. I cannot say it's wrong. Right? I just always said, express your truth. See, as a parent, if I didn't allow that to happen, they won't express their truth outside of the house.
Yeah.
Whether I liked hearing or not, that's my issue. But we always give freedom to each other to express our truth. And that I had to first do. I did it to my parents. I full on expressed myself. I knew it hurt them. So I'm very okay for my kids to hurt me, because hurt is always seen as a negative, and I don't see it that way. You know, you should never judge pleasure or pain. It's just an experience. From both, you can actually learn. That is all it is. You know, a child that gets a lollipop, right, or a child that touches a hot stove doesn't judge. It just goes, oh, this is hot, won't touch it. Oh, I got a lollipop on there. The child doesn't go, this is a bad learning, that's a good learning. The child just learns, doesn't judge the situation. As we get older and we start to sort of, you know, get more conditioned, we think situations are bad or good. So this is what I've tried to keep minimum in my parenting. There is no good and bad. It's just an experience or a lesson. The meaning we give to it is what makes it good and bad, the moment we judge it.
This is beautiful, because mostly people would have judgments around what they feel, what they think, what they do, how they react, what response they get. I mean, the world is full of judgment, from the way you look, from the way you talk, what are you
Yeah.
being judged about, from the skin colors. I mean, it's judgment all around. And I also
Yeah.
really like the beautiful point that you made in terms of how it is just an expression of your truth. If you
Yeah.
don't like my truth, it probably is your problem, not mine.
It is your problem.
But to show up as you are, absolutely just the way you are, is perfect. Like, for example, I'm told at times, you must do something about your hair, look at the dark circles. I'm like, so what? It's me. Oh, you
That's
got tan,
right.
the complexion is not good. Okay. I mean, you want to decide for everything in my life. You must get married, it's getting too late. Okay. So you want to make a decision from me
Yeah.
from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed, or perhaps even figure out my sleep as well. You must sleep at this time, get up at this time, do this at this hour. I mean, really?
Absolutely. That's the same thing. Same thing happened to me when I first got divorced. Like, you're a divorcee. I'm like, yes, obviously I know I'm a divorcee because I'm the one that got divorced. Like, I'm like, how would I not know that? And by the way, like, what? It's like you saying I've got black hair. Thanks. I've been noticing that for the last few years. Like, what is going on,
And I
guys?
get told you are single. I said, I know that. You haven't married. I said, I know that. What are you telling me?
Yeah, I just noticed that. Thank you. Wow, I wasn't aware. Yeah, absolutely right. So I find that stuff funny because I'm like, and this is why I've always told my kids, if you own yourself completely, there's nothing someone can tell you that's going to shock you, right? You're not going to go, oh, what? It's only when you're resisting that is when you have an issue. When you're trying, like I told you, like I've mentioned this story before when Ria was like really young, and someone called her brownie at school, and all their friends were like, oh my god, he was racist towards her, and I was confused because I said, what? And they said, oh, he called her brownie, and I looked at Ria and I was like, Ria, you are bloody brown.
Yeah.
And I said, he's not racist, he's just telling you what he sees. Now, if you have an issue with your skin color, you've got to deal with it, buddy, but he's not actually saying anything that's wrong. And it made her realize, and I'm talking, she realized that within seconds that, whoa, that, yes, he's actually not saying anything that's wrong. He's actually saying what he sees. And it's my not accepting of myself, or thinking that everybody, the world is actually more conditioned to fair skin or whatever that I'm dealing with internally, but it's not, he's not pointing out or saying something that's not true. So even if a woman is to have an affair or do anything, believe me, it's not the fact that she had the affair that she sort of worries about. It's because she hasn't internally owned it and accepted it, that it was her choice. She's cool with it. Whenever you do something with completeness and complete accountability and responsibility, you can never get disturbed. Never means never.
True, true. Let's get to the celebrity part of it.
Yeah.
How it being a celebrity first, and how's it being a wife to a celebrity? How do you handle it?
Basically just, me long enough to know that I haven't changed. And honestly, like I said, if you authentically are you, things can happen around you and you enjoy the experience, but I don't define myself through that. So yes, if you guys want to add a title to me saying I'm a celebrity's wife, that's got nothing to do with me, So whether it's there today, whether it's there tomorrow, it's not going to touch me. I've enjoyed the experience of, living this life, and being married to Shika, and the cricket and the traveling and the friends and the people you encounter. But at the same time, internally, nothing's shifted, nothing's changed. I haven't adapted new likes and dislikes. I've maintained myself so that you can enjoy life, but it doesn't control you. It's not going to make me happy or not happy if it's there, if it's not there. My kids are also raised in that way. They appreciate and they honor the life we have. We're very respectful and thankful. But at the same time, internally, none of us have changed. We're not wearing fancy clothes now because that's the thing to do. I'm not going to, you know, certain hangouts because that's the thing to do. I'm always true to what I like.
So how
Uh,
have you handled the glamour, the publicity, the
what
attention?
glamour? I'm like, what glamour are we talking about?
Well, the streams, the parties, the get-togethers.
Oh, so if I don't want to go, honestly, I don't go. I'm
Yeah.
very, no, I'm very like, yes, no, that's it. So I don't ever, I have never put pressure. I've missed out on award functions because I've not wanted to go. I've missed out on hanging out in places because I didn't want to go. So like I said, I'm very authentic to my feelings and what I want, because there's no point me going there and hating that whole thing. It's just,
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't make sense. People do it. I don't do it. That's how I am. But and I've also found that people are really, the response that I've got from being that is been great. Like, no one has told me change. No one has said, now that you're a wife, or now that you're, you know, a celebrity wife, you must be like that. Because you know what, my energy is like, this is me. So I haven't even had that reflection of that. You got to change.
But how about Shikhar? Does he not want you to come to the award functions, be there by his side because you are his
Um,
wife in real?
no, of course he does, but then I think once or twice I've gone. But he also knows that if I don't want to, he's cool with it, because I support him in other ways. Maybe there's things that I do behind the scenes that, you know, no one knows about, that I'm supporting him. So you got to look at the wholeness of the thing. So that's what I say. Like, hey.
I said I do.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. So I'm more about, like I said, I believe in supporting and being coexistent with everyone, and, you know, how you can give your best, how you can serve others and do whatever. It's right, come out of the way. And however, like I said, if some people like going and doing the awards and that's the way they support, hats off. For me, if it's more to do like with stuff that is sort of behind closed doors, that's my choice. So I believe that, you know, as long as you sort of have sort of like a well-roundedness to you, but be authentic. Like me now trying to be someone else to support him, I wouldn't actually be good support to him, because
Yeah.
I'm trying to maintain this facade while trying to support him. And it's like, no, my best work, my best anything will come out when I am at my best. You know, so I always just keep that in check. Like, what is my authentic self? And it's very easy to check. How are you feeling on a daily basis? How are you feeling? You know, because emotions, people try really hard to suppress or not feel them. But I'm like, they're like the gauge. They're like the gauges in your car that say, oh, battery, you know, is playing up, or your fuel tank is about to. Emotions are great, and people really don't understand how to use emotions or how to understand emotional intelligence. They're not there to make you feel horrible. They're actually there to make you know, okay, this needs a little bit of attention because you're not centered right now.
Mm.
You know? So I always go by that. Do I want to go there? Do I feel good? No, I don't want to. So I honor that. I honor Shika's choices when he wants to do whatever, because, you know, he has to feel centered as well. And that's how you should go forward, you know. So for me, like with the girls, and like the girls didn't really like that fame and all that stuff at the start, because, you know, they've come from a very normal background, coming to this and then having to share their dad with everybody. It's a lot, you know. So they've slowly had to adapt to that. But again, we have boundaries. We're like, okay, this is family time, this is that kind of time. And I feel like when you set boundaries and when you're realistic and you have a balance, then this can work. Because also, having your kids into this life 24/7 is not healthy for them. Don't forget, this will shift, this will change. Sporting careers, fame, name, all that stuff, it's this much, you know, in a lifetime. And you got to prepare kids for adaptation, for change, for, you know, things like that. So if I focus only on the way we live now, what's going to happen when this all goes?
Mm.
You know, you got to think about that too. Like, how will they treat people right now? If you give kids opportunities to, you know, that come from really well-to-do families that haven't been taught, you know, to treat people equally, to have compassion, to say thank you, to look them in the eye when they're speaking. Well, what happens if I click my fingers and that all goes? How are they going to cope? What's going to happen to them? You know, if they want to travel overseas when they're 20 and they've had a really, really like a really easy life here where they've been pampered and they haven't had to do anything, they're allowed to treat people how they want and use their name and status here. What happens if you go to another country where status and all that doesn't matter? Then how will you survive?
Yes, question for people to ponder on. Tell me about, you guys told me that how it was Bhaji who introduced you. But what was that point wherein, you both said, okay, let's spend this life together. Let's invest in this institution called marriage.
Okay, so me, I never wanted to get married again. Never say never. And basically, we met through Facebook. He'd liked the fact that I was doing boxing and all that stuff, especially all those years ago. Now girls are getting into all that stuff, but I was doing it way back. And I was always a bit crazy and out there. And then I didn't accept his friendship for a while. And then, even Harbhajan and they were saying, no, he's cool. And I used to hang out with them because, I used to love cricket and play cricket. So then we started chatting. And then I think it was 2 weeks of just chatting and he had said to me, let's, be together. And I was very upfront then. I was like, no, look, I'll let you know that your society, your parents, your everybody, your friends, this whole thing is going to go against us. I'm very happy to be your friend. I'll support you and everything. But I don't think this is a good idea because when it comes to that, this is not going to work out. And I'm not going to go through that. So I was very upfront with it straight away. And then he was like, no, you know what? I'll take it on. I will actually challenge whoever I need to, and I'll stand by you. And, I want to do this. And then obviously before any of this happened, he obviously knew I had girls and I was very, very determined for him to know, which he knew, that my girls are number one. I do not care about anything else. So he had to understand that, like, if you want me, it's me and my kids. Like, there is no separation. There is no, like, they are the second part of me or whatever. It's never going to happen that way. So he knew all that. And when he knew that, then we sort of committed. I think we committed like 2 weeks without even meeting each other. Sorry, come here. We made that commitment and I trusted him, and then we decided, I think we got married after a year and a bit. Yeah. Within a year we got married. So slowly introduced the kids. They got along really well. And like I said, it had to happen from both sides. So the kids had to also like look at him with that, sort of bond and sort of want, and knowing that, okay, this guy's not just something on the side. He has to be treated like a father, as a leader. And can they do that? And also he had to sort of, understand that these were our girls now, not just, and he did that, and they did that. So this is why it went forward, because we had set those things in motion early on. See, if you stuff around, if any other woman is out there and they think, okay, I'm going to get the guy first and then I'm going to get married, then I'll introduce them to the kid, it will never work. You've got to actually say, this is the thing, this is me and my kids, this is you, this is how it's got to work. There is no later on introducing them slowly and stuff, because a lot of differences show up then, a lot of complications happen then. But for us, we did it straight off the bat. We're like, it's not just me, it's us. Us and you. Can us get along with you? Can you get along with us? Right? So it wasn't first just me and him. And then it sort of grew and flourished. And yes, we had many challenges, but because we established the boundary of us, right, it grew and we overcame them. But if I was trying to integrate them after me and him connected completely, and then trying to sort of, it creates too many like distractions and too many like links that are broken. You've got to literally do it from day one. So that's how we took ours on board. And he came from a place where his upbringing was very different. mine was different. The way I raised my kids were very different, and we had to sort of make it like our own way. And when we let go of, okay, this is your way, this is our way, and when we considered it, okay, let's create a new way for us, then we sort of really, really flourished.
And that was also the time he's still doing exceptionally well, but he's been doing that for a long period of time. And when you guys got married again, so one was his career absolutely at the peak, going towards the peak, and the other was this new us getting created. And I'm sure with you being elder to him, with you having two girls already coming into an Indian family setup, there were a lot of challenges. So in short, he stood really strong for the new us that got created, right?
Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing, what gave me that strength. I remember my mum always said one thing, and my mum is, like I said, a very strong woman. She said, see, any dog, right, would feel like a lion in their own neighborhood, but a real lion feels like a lion no matter where. Right. So I was like, okay, this is my mindset. So I knew I had already accepted that there will be challenges, but like I said to you just from very early on, I um, really had a really strong belief, and I also had a lot of integrity with myself. So then I knew no matter what, I might feel discomforted, I might be pressured, but I am going to stand very still as I am with who I am. And that is what sort of gave me um, that comfort, and I found my own space. You know, it's like, okay, I had to make my own presence, my own space within this community, his family or whatever. And that's not saying that I have to please everybody and everybody has to like me. No, it's just that this is my space. You know, this is, I also exist in this space. If you are okay with it and you want to be a part of that, great. If not, I also respect that. But I didn't ever come with this concept that I'm going to please everybody to be in that space. I was like, I'll honor myself completely to make my own space. And it's your choice, you know, whether or not we sort of create something together or we coexist, but with boundaries.
Yeah. And where did Shikhar get that strength from? Was it the love?
To do what? Sorry.
So I'm saying Shikhar, he was strong enough to take that on for the entire family, for whatever it meant to be married to you. So how
Yeah.
did that happen for him? Was it the love bit between the two of you, or was it something more than that?
I guess so. Like, if you see, like, definitely there's something deeper because, you know, we also lived an 8-year marriage apart. Like, this is the first year that I've lived with him on a, you know, like fully like husband and wife. So because I had to look after my daughters first, that was my commitment. So I wasn't going to compromise on that. So we had a very strong sense of what we meant to each other and also what our values were. So you got to understand, like, it's easy to stray and it's easy to get off track
Yeah.
if your value system is weak, right? But if your value system is strong, things can happen, things can be around you, but you have that centered focus. So when he sort of knew that he wanted to marry me, it was his value system too. It wasn't just love. You know, with love, a lot of people in India can love, but, you know, not many people have the courage to express love. I know so many stories that these two were together and the parents got involved and the boy left the girl or the girl. I'm like, that's not love. You know, love takes courage because, you know, love is like, okay, there's a dog that's getting beaten. I love that dog. I feel so sorry for dogs. I'm a dog lover, but guess what? I haven't got the courage to go and knock at the door and say, you know what, you're mistreating that animal. What good is my love?
Hmm.
You know, and especially now during this lockdown, how many relationships have come undone? You know, the abuse has gone up. People are splitting up.
Yeah.
And just think about it. You know, you thought you had a marriage based on love. Love is not everything, buddy. You know, there are what I consider true love is, but what we humans define as love is, it's not enough. You know, you have to have integrity. You have to have values. You have to have a sense of honor. You have to actually be true to your words. Like, if I love you today and then I can't back you, or I love you today but someone else is speaking about my wife and I'm not able to stand up for her, what good is your love to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I guess when everything comes together and you sort of have value, when you have respect, when you have loyalty and you have honor, you know, you have integrity, you have courage for that person, only then can you sort of do it the way we did. Because I'm telling you, one little thing of love is not going to do it.
Yeah. I remember once a man said, I can die for you. And I told him, if you can live by my side, that'll be more useful. What will
Because
I do
it's
with
easy,
you
right? It's
dying?
the easiest thing to do, like as if someone's going to now go kill themselves to show you that they love you.
I mean,
Like,
I'm insane.
great, okay, thanks, buddy. Now I know, you know? And it's exactly right. It's like how can you live, you know, and not just that, live with your closest ones challenging you to, not strangers. Who cares what they're saying on social media about you? What about if your own tell you not to do this? What about your own trying to challenge you in your marriage? Do you have that sort of courage? And you know, it all, that's what I'm saying, it all comes down to how you see yourself, what are your values. And we honestly just had that understanding. We always knew that, okay, this was our value system, this is what we see each other as. Yes, we love each other, but I'm telling you, there's so much more, because you will always get undone in pressure. You will always get undone in pressure.
Yes, true. Okay, so fast forward life right now with Zoravar, Shikhar here, girls being there. What are you
Yep.
up to nowadays? I got to know the parenting bit that you told me, so I want to hear from you.
Yeah, so basically, Aaliyah's 20, living in Australia, looking after her sister who's 15, and they're, you know, living on their own, not with my parents or anything.
What's she
Uh,
doing? I know,
well,
but I want others to know too.
yeah, so that's another story in itself. So when she decided, she finished high school and she didn't want to go to university, I completely supported her. I was like, yeah, good for you. What do you want to do? And she was like, I want to be a dog trainer. I want to, you know, work with dogs. I want to rehabilitate dogs. I want to rescue them. And I said, brilliant, because she loves dogs and animals, and, you know, that's her thing. And, you know, at the same time, so many Indian people said to me, oh my God, I can't believe that you're just okay with her being a dog trainer. And I was like, wow, that's really weird, because she's happy, you know? Why wouldn't I be okay with her being happy? Like, that's really weird to me. But so I was just like, yeah, okay. So she's a dog trainer. She's loving her life, living it. She's got 3 dogs over there. And you know, for me, like, people are like, it's been 5 months since I haven't seen them. And a lot of people would have been going, oh my God. And they say, can't believe that you haven't seen your girls for so long, and this and that, the other. And I said, you know, I miss them very much so. But at the end of the day, this is how I've raised them, so they can do what they're doing right now, which is live without me, be completely non-dependent on me, survive, thrive, and flourish, happy, successful, loving life, doing what they want. And, you know, that's exactly what I wanted. So it's like, if I resist now this, it's like saying, well, why did I raise them the way I did? So it's a true reflection of my parenting. So, and Ria too. Ria's also 15 and helping her sister, living alone, and doing their own things. And I thought, you know, for me, it's complete freedom. You know, we have a great bond. We're very close, but guess what? We can also have distance. We can have a really strong, healthy relationship, but I don't need to be in her pocket. She doesn't need to be in my pocket, because that codependency is ugly to me.
Yeah.
It is something that disables people. It is something that doesn't allow a child to grow and flourish. I feel like if my daughter has to constantly ask me, Mummy, can I do this? Or Mama, can I do that? I feel that is quite unattractive. And it really puts me off. So I never wanted to create children that were codependent on me. It's like giving them a security blanket and clipping their wings. I'm like, no, you know, so I want my kids to be out there doing life, living life. So same with Zarava. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, now you got a little son. And I said, no, that's great, but he's no different to my daughters. And I don't want him hanging out with me 24/7 either. You know, I don't want to create that dependency on him and me on him and him on me, where, you know, he doesn't have his own true expression. He doesn't know how to challenge me and stand up with me. Just because I had him as a mother doesn't mean he owes me his life, and that he should constantly, go through his life making me feel worthy. And, yes, if my son loves me, my son, like, that's a place, again, coming from a part of, I don't feel good enough on my own. So I need my son to make me feel good by constantly blowing, praise to me. And I don't agree with that. I want my son to, if he wants to move away at 18, I would be so honored. I'm like, wow, you have developed to that age. Well done. Like, I feel more happy and proud if I have grown independent children that are going to be loving, compassionate, trailblazers, out of the box thinkers, challenge life. To me, if I sit back on my rocking chair and I see my kids are like somewhere all over the world living life, you know what? That is my peace and honest happiness. Not that they're with me and in a room next door to me and just listening to what I tell them to do. That is like, wow, what have I done with a life that is unlimited? I've just caged them.
And I'm sure that balance has been required because Shikhar is a doting father on all three children. So you had to be a little strict in that sense to be able to make up for the love and the pampering that he offers them.
Yeah, love and pampering is one thing. But see, like I said, love for me is very different to what people consider love. Love is also independence, love is also me standing back and letting them unfold into who they already are. It's not about controlling them, like, oh, please, live with me. What is going to happen when I'm old? Are you going to look after me? No, you're going to get old, and if you're alone, that's fine too. Like, there's nothing bad in living alone when you're old. I don't do those things. I don't have those sort of limited ways of thinking. So, because for me, I don't want someone else's life to not flourish. Who knows what my life is going to be when I'm old. I couldn't care less, but I'm not going to hold my kids to me so that I don't feel left alone and I don't have, some sort of person that's constantly giving me that self-worth. It's a very big obligation, and it's not true love. It's actually not. Any parent, and I don't care what they say and what comes back, any parent that holds onto their children for them to feel good or them to be looked after in their old age, it's selfish, and it actually doesn't allow that soul to grow in the way it should. Like, you need to let go. Look at nature. No animal holds on to their babies. They actually grow them so that they can move on and start their own circle of life.
Yeah. Is that what your parenting series is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Authentic Parenting. It's all about being real, having a really true, authentic relationship where, like I said, kids are allowed to challenge their elders. Kids are allowed to express themselves. Parents should, never stop learning. How did I parent from a courageous point of view, even putting my kids in situations where it was very uncomfortable for them? All my mistakes I share on there as well. True stories I share on them so that you can see that, look, these are the ways I applied these lessons, and this is how I've got really independent kids now. And it's so much less of a headache when they're older and they live like that than someone that's depending on me 24/7 to give them answers to everything. So all that, and then I'm speaking to other people. I'm speaking about other issues to single fathers that are raising their kids, because families are not just husband, wife, child. There are all different dynamics in a family. I'm going to be talking about them and how they're doing, because like, people think that in order for a child to be well-rounded, you've got to have like a mom and dad. No, life is not like that. It's like, so I want to bring forward single moms or single fathers, just situations that will highlight that there are many different aspects to parenting, and how you can best use your situation, your personal situation, and empower your children. Empower your children. That is the most important thing in my life is how to empower children and how to allow them to be who they are. It's not to raise them even. It's literally to guide them a little bit so they can become who they were meant to be already, you know? So that's how I'm doing it.
Good. All the best for that. I'm sure you're going to do well. And
Thank
if
you.
people want to reach out to you, Twitter handle, Insta account, whatever.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I just started a new handle called I'm Just a Mum, but I've obviously got my personal page and it's sort of linked to I'm Just a Mum. Then I've got my YouTube channel, I'm Just a Mum. If you look up Aesha Dhawan or I'm Just a Mum, you'll sort of come there. I've got my website that I've started and I'm blogging now, I'm writing a little bit more. So that's aeshadhawan.com. So people can go there and check me out there. And I'm just creating more content. Like I said, interviewing people, speaking to people and general people out there, you know, and getting them heard as well. It's very important that we hear what real people are doing in their real lives, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so nice to see you yet again, though we meet often now. And what came to my mind was how we met in that group years and years ago,
Oh
and
my
how it
God.
all transformed into what it is today.
Absolutely. It was a blessing in disguise, right? 6 years we were apart, like we lived in different countries, but we never, ever, ever lost touch, ever.
Yeah, that's love.
That's true love, yes. See, we didn't depend on each other, but here we are.
It's
Very
so
true.
lovely chatting with you. We've overshot time, but I'm sure people would love to listen to that. And I'm going to see you soon.
Definitely. See you, Jess. Thanks heaps.
Thank you. Love you. Bye. I